This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook because it's time now for Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. Mark Gott sent in a special guest host this week. Michael Loeb is along with us. Mike? Which
How you
one's
doing?
Okay, and we also have some guests as well, so I'll know who they are. Michael Millady, who's been here before. I know that name. We've heard that before. And Chad Miller as well.
Chad Miller as well.
Your guest tonight for Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. If you have any comments or questions, 340-1590 is the number. Take it away, Michael.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Mark couldn't be here tonight in the captain's seat, so, after last week, great show on hurricane preparedness, his agent, Jake, said that he needed a show where people would be anxious to see Mark get back in the chair. So here we are. My name is Mike. I'll be on the left, and to my right is Mike. So if you're watching through the radio, it's probably he's on the left and I might be on the right. Or
that's creepy.
Up and down. We're not quite sure. But anyway, here we are in WPSL. We're about, what would you say, about the 43rd floor of WPSL Tower?
That's right. We're looking out over the mud in the backyard here.
Yeah, it's
really
a long
nice.
way down
It's
to
nice.
watch that first step.
It's a beautiful facility here.
Nice
We've
patio.
got, how many watts do you say is going through those towers?
Oh, maybe about 5,000 of powerful AM watts. Years ago, we were just a little bitty 1,000-watt AM. Now we're a monster. We're a media powerhouse.
We're big.
Wow,
We
that's
got
excellent.
the internet too, not just the listening area, but anywhere on the planet that you can turn on one of those Google devices and say, "Hey Google, play WPSL on TuneIn."
Which means we don't have to scream to get down to Stewart.
No,
Yeah. Which is the way I listen.
yeah.
I put Alexa up there and I listen to her.
Yeah,
Good
Alexa
stuff.
knows the way through TuneIn, and
Yep.
and you can either our sister station WSTU as well just joined in on the streaming thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime we're live on the air, we're on the internet as well.
So we're on both right now?
Yeah, right now we are, and they can listen in. Another thing we're doing in the studio tonight is we're videotaping the show, and we'll do a little post editing afterwards, and it'll be up tomorrow on YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Matter of fact, Cliff will put something up on the green screen. I think we'll Beach at Tahiti.
Oh, that's
Would
right.
you
We
like?
got a green screen here. What's in the background?
I thought I had the volcano shots from.
Come on, Cliff, get with it, will you? Did we pay extra for this or what?
Well, yeah, that's what I spent on the lava shots.
I love it. I love it.
So any chance of cranking up that wattage to make that antenna glow red?
Not without breaking any federal laws, so I'll have to be careful about
Well, because
that.
you got a couple of towers out there. I'd love to see like an arc of electricity go up, like a
Oh.
Tesla machine or something.
We can
like
do
that.
that.
We're under contract with this show to only break 3 federal laws.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
already
well,
up
Mark-
to 1 already.
Yeah, Mark did leave a couple of rules.
We
One
got to
is-
make sure that there's still a show for him when he comes back.
Well, one is to make sure that WPSL does not lose their license, and the other one was to make sure that Cliff did not quit at 6:30.
We did get a letter about
Halfway
Jake,
through
by
the
the way.
show.
They sent a letter in about Jake. They said we can't use him as an actual person anymore because it's Mark's dog.
Oh no, I got a pretty
not
good track record about showing up and being here, so that's not really a problem.
It is what it
Alright.
is. Well, lead us in, Mike. Lead us in. What do
Okay.
we want to talk about tonight?
Well, tonight we are our special guest, because Mike to my right is really not a guest. He's kind of like a co-host.
Janitor.
Janitor. Okay. Is Chad Miller, and Chad is better known as Dad the Mom.
Yes.
That's right.
And,
Thanks for having me, by the way.
Oh, you're very
love,
welcome.
We love
very
you.
welcome.
We love Dad the Mom.
Yep, Dad the Mom is a local blog. But the issue that I think we're going to talk about tonight, or some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, is the stigma of can a man raise a child? Because if I say a man raising a child, most
You're going to get us arrested.
For the 1,000 listeners or for the 20,000 listeners we have, all of a sudden you have thoughts of YouTube videos, and you have Raised by Wolves.
Creepy
and you have,
stuff, yeah.
You know, the movies from years ago, Mr. Mom, and Three Men and a Baby, which, you know, kind of led us to believe that one man could not do the job. And then, of course, on TV you had 2.5 Men. And that was pretty much raising a child in a barn.
You mean there's been some other guys that have done the single parent thing?
Not only you, Cliff.
Really, not only me.
Yeah, well, Chad's not a
Hey!
Chad's not a single dad, but he's a
Stay-
dad.
stay at
There's a
home.
blog
Stay at
called
home.
Dad the Mom.
Right.
He's
Yep.
a stay-at-home dad
Yep.
by choice.
Oh, okay.
Very,
Yeah,
very
reverse,
well read.
reverse roles. So my wife
Yeah.
works the full-time job, and I stay at home with my son, and of course run some businesses from home. But I do most of the at-home parenting.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Notice though that is at-home parenting with work. He's got a part-time job that you do at home, or
Yeah, I'm an author.
Oh,
and
okay.
I write books and articles for my blog. Of course, I make money off my blog.
Oh,
not
yeah.
very much.
If
But,
you've got some books, all you need is a blog.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I write my books to help other parents with their stay-at-home journeys, with raising kids who are responsible, and also making their parenting lives a little bit easier, because we all know it's a lot harder nowadays with all the extra things we have to keep track of with the internet, with cell phones, technology, all this other stuff that's happening, rather than when I was born in the 80s, the early 80s. We didn't have any of that extra stuff that we had to really watch out for.
Wow. Yeah,
I've-
we do.
I find that amazing that you actually have time to write a book, because I remember with my son now, I wasn't the stay-at-home dad, but the times taking care of him, if somebody had said, I want you to watch your son and write a book, I'm guessing it would
That
have
might
been.
not be that easy to do.
I'm guessing it would have been written on the wall in crayon and poo.
Right. Well, that's how I did my editing, actually.
Illustrations.
No,
Really
so
cool of it.
I definitely I did take quite a while to write my first book. It took about 3 years of logging, just kind of life lessons and things that I wanted teens to know that their parents should be teaching them. And over about 3 years, I came up with 68 life lessons, ranging from how to rent your first place to how insurance works, how to handle yourself in case of an emergency situation, just all kinds of good real life lessons that kids aren't being taught today by their parents.
As a side note, when my daughter was buying her home, I didn't call anybody that had a real estate license. I'd call Chad and ask him everything. So he's probably the reason that my daughter got a good deal on a good house.
And you probably helped
Yeah.
him out with one of his books in a chapter or two there.
Always,
Oh, yeah.
always.
Absolutely. And I have a business background, a real estate background. I've been licensed in mortgages at one time. I still have my real estate license, so I've just been through the ringer of life experience. And to see all the young people coming right out of high school with no clue how the real world works, I had to do something.
I'll see if my clueless son will call in. I asked him to call in. He's a good guy.
When you say not ready for the real world, I think one of the problems is that we don't teach kids today about money. What money is, the value of money, how to save, how to invest, even how to write a check. And you see it out there, and it's
Well, it's very rare that they have any money to practice with. So that's part of the problem.
well, now that the economy is
Now that
getting
the
better.
economy's straightened out, I don't know who's in charge of that, but he's doing a good job.
Absolutely. And one of the big things with money is that kids not only need experience with money, but they need experience with the value of money. And I think that's what kids don't understand, how much it takes, how much work it takes to buy that pair of sneakers that they want, rather than mom and dad just giving them the money or buying it for them. So that actual value of the hard work it takes to earn that dollar, I think, is something that the younger generations are really lacking today.
Amen.
Well,
Amen.
money is the storage of labor. That's how you store labor. You go back a few hundred years, you did a job, you got 2 chickens. Okay, if you didn't like chicken, okay,
You still had 2 chickens.
you had to then figure out how to convert that chicken into something you needed.
Trade,
Okay, so
trade and barter.
yeah, there you go with fiat currency, with the currency type of thing. So when you sat down with your wife and made this decision, how did that go?
Well, my wife is very supportive. She has been just an angel when it comes to some of my business adventures, especially when I first got into real estate. You know, I was right out of college. I didn't really have a dime to my name. And within 6 to 12 months, I was running a successful real estate investment business with another investor. So I think once she kind of saw that anything that I put my mind to and really focus on can actually move forward and be successful, she was a lot more receptive to me starting the whole stay-at-home parenting thing and then trying to make it into an actual business, which I did. So you know, I've been very blessed, but to actually stay at home, raise my son, and get paid for it, you know, it's just been one of the most wonderful things I've ever done in my life.
So he's actually the guy that our wife should have married.
I guess so.
That's the way it is. Just saying.
I am taken.
So, how old is your son?
My son's 5. He just started kindergarten today.
Excellent.
First day of school today.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
and as a
hello.
reminder, to everybody out there, first day of school, schools are open, drive carefully, make believe the kids are sandhill cranes, okay? Because I know you stop for them.
Yep.
That's
So
right.
let's
And
make
squirrels.
and
cats.
squirrels and cats. Exactly.
And that turtle that they have to pick up and move to the side of the road.
Yeah, he keeps trying to cross the same road.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's
Well,
weird.
you put him back, and then he just comes back
Gotta
again.
love it. Gotta love it. Yeah, Ollie's going to have a good time at school. That's for sure. He's going to be
Absolutely.
the light of the classroom because he's smart. He might be
Absolutely.
smarter than Chad.
I think so.
That's
I think
right.
so. You know, he's already, by the time he was 4 years old, he was already doing math and all kinds of crazy stuff that I didn't realize I was doing until maybe 4th or 5th grade. So he's already ahead
And
of
he
the
does
game.
other stuff.
Yeah, he
right?
plays drums, he takes music lessons, he's in karate. I mean, every week he does this stuff and he loves it. He just is so focused and has so much fun with it. Whereas, you know, when I was a kid his age, I was being forced, you know, I felt like I was being forced to do those things, so I didn't have as much motivation. But he's already ahead of me, so I'm very proud, very
That's
proud.
good. You are a product of your environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. What's your wife's name?
Kate,
Kate? Is she listening?
I'm not sure. She might be. She might
Okay.
be.
Kate, if you're out there, if you could just turn down the volume on your radio just a little bit, I'll give you the 5.
WPSLTV.com. The archive of this show will be there tomorrow.
Thank you,
Under
Cliff.
Issues and Answers of St. Lucie County. WPSLTV.com. That's our YouTube.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so Kate's
Nice,
not
Cliff.
listening. 20 seconds, Kate. That's all I need. So when you take your son to the park, is it like a puppy? Is he a chick magnet?
Well, no, I don't really look at it this way, but you know what I do exploit him for is getting free and discounted stuff, because he's so cute, and most kids are so adorable. I mean, you can just take your kids anywhere and get a free ice cream cone, get free entry somewhere. So sometimes I do take advantage of that, but no, I never look at it as a means to pick up
And
girls
you
or anything.
publish those deals, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Tell them about that, about the blog and where they can find the deals.
Yeah, so on my blog, dadthemom.com, one of my main goals is to help parents save money. And being a parent is so expensive, especially with the things we have to pay for. So I put out deals. I put out anything that I can find that would make you save a little bit of money as a parent. Especially one of my most popular pages is the Kids Eat Free restaurant list. So I have a list of a ton of restaurants in this local area and down to Stewart up to Fort Pierce where kids can go on certain days of the week and eat absolutely free. And if you go out to eat, I mean, that is a tremendous amount of savings.
Certainly is. Certainly is.
Especially if you have
And
multiple kids.
for those people without kids, you really want to get on that blog to know where not to go.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's it.
And,
Yep,
and
amen.
with younger kids, parents want to take their kids to the park. They want to take their kids to the playgrounds. But sometimes your kids are 3, 4 years old, and taking them to a playground designed for 10-year-olds or 15-year-olds is not a safe thing to do. So I do have those younger kid, toddler playground locations on my blog and helpful things like that to help you as a parent keep your kids safe.
And what is the blog?
dadthemom.com.
Okay, you can't repeat that enough.
dadthemom.com.
Okay, excellent.
Wow. Dadthemom.com.
That's right. It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
That's good. Now, later on in life, will you help me write the blog oldman.com or something like that?
Yeah.
That might be
That's a-
taken.
So I
that's a
can
great
pick up older
idea. I
chicks.
like
Great
that.
idea.
I think that
we're,
might be taken.
I think we're coming up. I think we're coming up to our first break. Cliff
Yeah.
is giving me the sign, and me and Mike have some business to talk over. Maybe we're going to open up a babysitting business.
That's it. That's it. And get those discounts.
You're
Gotta get those
listening
Get the
discounts.
hot moms.
to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County this week with Michael Loeb, and we'll be right back.
If as a woman you believe that you can accomplish all that a man can accomplish and more without the help of the government, you just might be a Republican. If you believe that you should have a say in your child's education and that you should have a choice as to where your child is educated, you just might be a Republican. To learn more, go to stluciegop.org and click on Being a Republican.
St. James Christian Academy is fully accredited and is now enrolling for fall, preschool through 12th grade, providing students with excellent education in a safe Christian environment for over 17 years. They offer dual enrollment, a BECA curriculum, transportation, affordable aftercare, STEM classes, sports, dance, and karate. St. James Christian Academy is now accepting fall enrollment applications. Plus, ask about their free tuition scholarships. Be a part of the excitement. Schedule a tour today or visit us at stjameschristianacademy.com.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County, and for Mark Gotts this week is Michael Lowe.
Okay, thanks for sticking by us, and I see that the phone board is lit up. Probably a lot of people requesting dead air for the next 40 minutes or so.
That's right. Well, just don't forget about our sponsor, M&M Babysitting.
Licensed and insured.
Probably not.
We'll return your kid when we're good and ready. Just saying.
So, Chad, being dad the mom, I mean, I know that we're living in supposedly a gender-neutral society these days. Do you still feel or get a little stereotype out there, people looking at it and going, this is a little strange?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially when sometimes I do these trade shows, or I'll do some of the back to school shows, and I'll have a booth and I'll have people come by, and I had one lady come by and say, well, Dad the mom, isn't that kind of an oxymoron? How can dad be as good as a mom? And that's kind of why I named my blog Dad the Mom, because it doesn't matter if you're dad or mom or what role you take in the household, anybody can do a great job of it. So dads can be just as good of stay-at-home parents as moms can, and moms can go out and make just as much money out in the real world as dads can. So that was kind of the whole purpose of my naming of the blog, and kind of that was the stance that I wanted people to get.
Excellent.
The
Excellent.
stereotype is just that. It's just a ridiculous stereotype.
Tell us about your two books. I mean, what are the titles? What do they go for? Where can we buy them?
Yeah, so my first book is called Major Lessons for Minors. And like I was saying, it has 68 real-life lessons that all teens should know by the time they get out of high school. Things that have to deal with real estate, buying your first car, loans, money, negotiations. I mean, nobody is taught how to negotiate anything, which could save you thousands of dollars over your lifetime. So it's just like really common sense lessons that everybody should know, so that when they get out in the real world, they don't make costly mistakes and decisions that are years to fix. My second book is also for parents of younger children and parents, new parents especially. It's called Entitle Me Not. So as everyone I'm sure is experiencing at some point, there's so many kids, so many younger people and older people combined who are entitled and have this entitlement attitude. And I think that entitlement attitude is so detrimental to your kid when they're being raised. It causes huge problems later in life. And I wrote this book to kind of not doing anything fancy with parenting, but to help parents get back to common sense lessons, common sense parenting that we all seem to be missing. Everybody's off on their own wild tangent adventures of parenting advice that they're getting from some neighbor or online and all this crazy stuff. But I think we need to focus back on how we've been raising children for the last 100 years in this country.
Excellent, excellent. And cost?
Yeah, my books are $10. They're really cheap. I priced them nice and low so that anybody can get access to them. You can get them on Amazon. You can also download them on Kindle. They're only $2.99 on Kindle. You can download the ebook versions. Or you can go right to my website, dadthemom.com, or my other website, majorlifelessons.com.
Excellent, excellent. And if you mention this show, you can actually get them 2 for $20.
Sure.
Okay, excellent.
Yep.
And what I suggest people do is buy them before we do something crazy like vote to raise our sales tax.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That works. That
Absolutely.
works.
Okay.
Good.
And you do a lot of networking through Mike's group, I understand.
Yeah, Mike has been a blessing. Ever since I met Mike, I've just been introduced to all kinds of different people throughout the networking breakfasts that we've gone to, the different trade shows. I mean, he knows so many people. So just to be introduced by him has gotten me so much business and so many referrals, and it's really been a godsend to meet Mike. So absolutely.
Note to file: send Chad a bill.
Note to file, send Mike an invoice.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. By the way, what's nice about Chad's book is you'll never be upset at buying a book and giving it as a gift. It's such a neat thing to do for people because it's such a great resource that people don't know exists.
Right.
So they're getting information they didn't know about from a guy that they don't necessarily know about, but they're going to want to come back and do again.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can do this.
Right.
Yep.
So if you need a gift for a baby shower, a gender reveal shower, which to me I think is insane.
That's kind of creepy.
But
Yep.
baby showers, first, whatever. You have new parents. It's got to be a great gift because it's not something other people are going to think about.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's all good information. So many books out there are filled with fluff. Fluff so that they give you just enough so that you'll buy their course or buy the next book or whatever. They lead you into some kind of something that's higher priced. And my books don't do that. My books are filled with good quality information that people can use right away. So that's kind of value, and that's why they all have 5 stars on Amazon. Everybody that reviewed them all loves them. So it's just a really powerful resource for $10 or $3 if you have online capabilities.
And speak to that. At the point where you get the 5 stars, what happens special to you as an author? What's the give back for that? What's the deal?
Well, I feel like an awesome person.
There you go.
No, but of course, well, of course, on Amazon, if you get enough reviews, positive reviews, and you get enough sales, you can be qualified to appear on their front pages. You can get all kinds of little perks and things as well. But I'm not too concerned with that. My main point is just getting these books in as many hands as parents and the teens that need them as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my best way to do that is probably through the schools, through parenting associations, and those types of organizations.
So some of our schools have your book in it?
Correct. Yeah. So right now, Somerset College Prep has purchased my books for their graduating classes for a few years in a row. They love the book. They're repeat buyers. The Boys and Girls Club has purchased my books. I've been out there and taught their teen summits. So, I'm slowly kind of reaching out and letting more and more people know what's available
Right.
to their students.
Now, Somerset is a charter school.
Correct.
Any chance getting into the plain vanilla public schools?
I think there's a lot more red tape and bureaucracy to cross to kind of get into there. But I'm still working on that. But it seems like the charter schools, the private schools, the Christian schools have been way more receptive and way more willing to look at something like this rather than having to go through the red tape and all the forms and all the weird requirements.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The Entitle Me Not, you say, is for children. Is there any chance of writing a book for those already trapped in the entitlement, mentality?
Well, the Entitle Me Not is for parents. It's for parents of young children. So as a parent, I do have several things in there that would help current parents of entitled kids. And one of the things I have is a 5-step war plan to take your house back from your kids. Sometimes we see parents so often where they lose control of their household, where their kid doesn't respect them, and because they don't respect them, they don't obey them. And that's one of the main things that your kids should do is obey, so that you can actually get them to do what you want, so that they respect you and they follow orders, which is something they'll have to do for real life, whether you're a business owner or you're in the Army or whatever. You have to be able to follow orders from your customers, your employer, your sergeant. So I think that's one of the main things my book teaches, is to take your house back from your kids, make them respect you, and get an environment that is conducive to them being successful later on in life.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. Now, Mike has, Mike to the right, Mike Mulady has.
The good-looking Mike.
The good-looking Mike. I'm the better-looking Mike. So if you call, if you do choose to call, just say, I want to talk to Mike, the good-looking one, or Mike, the better-looking one. Mike has 2 wonderful children that he raised, or he and his wife, or his wife
Cindy
and
raised. That's
Cindy
good.
raised wonderfully. And he says a lot of it was by accident, but that's not true. Mike was
Relentless.
Relentless.
A relentless parent. That's right. That's right.
But you were also a hockey dad.
Oh, big time, big time. We're back at hockey this weekend. He won another one, another tournament. Yay! So he'll come on to tell you about that.
Yeah, but he was a ringer.
He was a ringer. He's totally a ringer. It's neat when you pay for things for a long period of time with your children, and then they come back and they want to pay for it on their own. So he lives on his own, pays his own bills. He gets in the car with his buddies. They go to a hockey tournament. They split the expenses. He comes back, Life is good. It teaches you teamwork and respect, and he's carried that on. So, and one heck of a player, I might add.
Good player, and he's got a wonderful girlfriend.
He does.
Who works at a local restaurant where you don't want to be caught stealing napkins.
Oops. Where's that napkin, Mike?
Have to ask Lynn.
Life is good on the Treasure Coast. It's good stuff. We should get some calls shortly. What time is it? What time's the time?
I think about 6:30.
Well, you people out there should definitely feel free to give us a call here at WPSL Towers. We're up about 27th floor, you'd say?
Let me give you a 1-minute story before we go to break. Chad helped my daughter buy her house. Real important questions that I called him about that made it happen. So I can tell you, as a dad, the house buying experience is a monster. And once they get in their own houses, two things happen. They love you from afar. They come back and visit. They pay their own bills, and there's pride of ownership. So if you want to get to the next level with your kids, get some real estate for them. It's huge. Call Chad. He'll help you out.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That work? How long we got?
Well, we don't have to take a break yet, but, we might have to break for a phone call because you have given the numbers out, and
it's Mac.
there might be a couple of folks here trying to get through to you. That first one, does it say line 1 on it or line 2?
Yeah, it says line 1.
What's the name on line 1?
I believe that's Mac. Mac and cheese,
Hey, Mac.
McDonald's, not quite sure.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Good, Mac.
Hey, Rockstar.
Good. Hey, it's a good thing you said all those nice things about me because I was going to roast you for calling me clueless.
Oh, my.
That's actually what I told the nice lady when she answered the phone.
Hey, we've all been clueless at one point in time.
Have been?
Sure. Still are sometimes. Still are.
Still are.
Yeah, Mac is my wonderful son that I was just speaking of. So it's always good to have Mac just about anywhere because he helps. He makes it happen.
He shoots, he scores.
But anywhere with a hockey rink is better.
Amen to that. It's too bad we don't have a good one here anymore.
So, Mac, is there anything you want to tell us about possible future parenting?
Future parenting? Oh man, that's a scary thought for me right now. It's a good thing my girlfriend's not listening. but I know when that day comes, I will be visiting dadthemom.com.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Mac. And
Dad's a smart guy, and he holds a lot of the values I think that helped me a lot growing up, which was very no nonsense, down to earth, common sense thinking. And I promote those things to other people when I see their kids at the hockey rink and we get into conversations. So for anybody listening, it's definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely. And you're exactly right. I mean, the common sense is where I think we've kind of gone from. And people are exploring all kinds of weird options of parenting and getting away from the things that traditionally made parenting good, and kind of instilled those hard work ethics and those, no nonsense attitudes.
That's it.
No, definitely. I mean, especially in today's day and age, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity out there, especially if you're not going to be picky about what you want to do. The opportunities to make money are there. And I think if you take the chance in trying something as a young person and doing something new and something you didn't think you like, if you stick with it and you figure out how to work it, you'll find that at the point where you're making money, you don't really care that much anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a matter of not being picky. I think it's more of being open to the possibilities.
Yeah, definitely. That's a better way to put it.
If America is anything, it's about the possibility and the opportunity.
Amen.
Well, another very famous Mike who's not in this room, Mike Rowe. I'm sure you guys have heard of him.
Mike Rowe, big time.
I remember him saying, and I might be paraphrasing this, but I remember him saying that those that really try to go after something that they loved usually weren't successful, but when they learned to love and be great at the career they were in, then they truly found happiness and success. So it's just an interesting idea where you shouldn't always just, if you love something, just, of course go after it and try and be successful, but also there's a majority of business owners and people out there who have learned to be really great and love the business that they're in to the point where it's made them a tremendous success as well.
Absolutely.
Just a random thought.
And just a side note, Mac is also responsible for my grand dogs. So I just want to let you know that's where they can be found, and they're awesome.
Wait, if we can't talk about Jake, we can't talk about Jake.
And when Chad writes a book about raising your dogs, I'll pick up that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, do you have a dog?
Yeah, no, but I
Do you
might write
want
a
a
book.
dog?
Major lessons for dog owners.
Major lessons for dog owners, please carry a bag and take it with you.
That was terribly wonderful. I like that a lot. That's good. Well, Mac, thanks
Well,
for...
hey, don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, don't let me hang up all the airtime on you. I'll let some other callers get in here.
Yeah, because
But,
I do believe we have other callers requesting for to vote for dead air.
There you go. There you go. Mac,
I believe.
I'll see you later, buddy. You rock.
No problem, guys. Take care, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Take
Mac.
care, Mac. I believe we're on line 2. We have Terry.
We have Terry on line 2, yes.
Terry, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Do you have a question for Chad, Dad, the mom?
Well, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. And, you know, for us, this book comes about 15 years too late.
I've heard that. I've heard that a bunch. I've heard that a bunch. And for my own, when I graduated high school, I felt the same way. I wish I would have had this book in my hands.
Oh, it's huge. It's
Exactly.
Huge. There's so much they don't learn in school. So it's so scary.
Yeah, that's true. So I think it's a great thing, that you're doing, Chad. My husband, when I say it comes 10 or 15 years too late, I mean, he was a stay-at-home dad for a while. We made the same decision.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't easy. So it would have been a great thing to be able to have that resource. I've got some nieces and nephews that I'll probably be reaching out to grabbing that book for because I think it's a great idea.
You don't have to reach out. You can order more books.
Sure.
Yes, I can.
And you can always get them from my website too, and I sign them and make them out with a nice personalized message, which is always a cool
Very
gift.
nice.
It's always a cool gift
Very
to
nice.
get.
Okay, cool.
We
Cool.
love
So that's
it.
what I'll do.
Now, what's your
But,
what's your background?
My background?
Yeah.
My background, I have a travel company, and but I have a banking background myself.
There you
30
go.
years.
I think I know you. You rock.
Yes. Yes, I'm that girl.
Thanks so much for calling in. I didn't know when we talked the other day that you would get to the phone this early, but you done good. That's
Well,
good- that's good
sometimes
stuff.
I can fit this stuff in, and I appreciate the support that you give to every one of us, and I wanted to make sure that we reached out and supported Chad as well.
Not a problem. We
Well,
love
I
you. We
appreciate
love
it.
you, girlfriend. Not a problem. We'll see
You're
you.
welcome,
We'll see you for
Chad. Thanks a bunch.
breakfast Friday or what?
Yes, that's the deal.
There you go. A little breakfast on Friday. That'll
All
work.
right.
You rock, girl.
That's awesome.
Have a great evening.
Thanks,
You
Terry.
too. Thanks.
Good.
You're welcome. Bye.
Now
Excellent.
she's partners with Yak.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And
Okay. Breakfast is the best meal of the day.
is he giving me the cut sign?
I don't. She'd hung up. She's gone.
Is she gone?
Yeah.
She'll listen on the radio. That's all right.
She'll
No
call
problem.
back.
Not a problem.
okay.
We have about 80, 90 people at breakfast this Friday. She'll be one of them, and we'll be talking about Chad's book.
Okay. All right.
All right.
We can take our second break now, or we can wait 2 more minutes, maybe one more call coming in. Oh, or they can call during the break. That'll be even better.
Call during the break.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 340-1590 will get you on Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. And in for Mark Gotch is Michael Loeb. Once again, Coach Mike Mulady and Chad Miller. DadTheMom.com. Hey, that rhymes. DadTheMom.com. Has it happened to you? Was it that easy? Hey, you could be our next caller at 340-1590. We'll be right back.
St. James Christian Academy is fully accredited and is now enrolling for fall, preschool through 12th grade, providing students with excellent education in a safe Christian environment for over 17 years. They offer dual enrollment, a Becca curriculum, transportation, affordable aftercare, STEM classes, sports, dance, and karate. St. James Christian Academy is now accepting fall enrollment applications. Plus, ask about their free tuition scholarships. Be a part of the excitement. Schedule a tour today or visit us at stjameschristianacademy.com.
If as a woman you believe that you can accomplish all that a man can accomplish and more without the help of the government, you just might be a Republican. If you believe that you should have a say in your child's education and that you should have a choice as to where your child is educated, you just might be a Republican. To learn more, go to stluciegop.org and click on Being a Republican.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
6:40, Monday evening on WPSL. Now back to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. Once again for Mark Gotts, is Michael Lowe.
Thank you very much, Cliff. And you know, Cliff, I believe the name Cliff actually is Scandinavian.
Is it really?
For Michael.
Really?
Yes.
Do they know that in Ireland?
No.
They might.
It might be
Scandinavian, Norway, Finland, it's all the same.
It might be a dirty secret in Ireland for all.
It's all the same.
That's where I'm
It's all
told
the
my
same.
ancestors are
And the
from.
big question for Chad right now is, why aren't you named Michael?
That's a good question. I think it's because of an 80s TV show that my parents named me after. Some kind of, I forget what it was. I think one of the Young and the Restless or one of those.
Oh.
My mom must have seen it in the hospital, she told me. It was a great story for coming up with my
Mike
name.
Hammer.
That's right.
Mike Hammer?
No, Chad.
Chad.
But it was close. That was close.
We know where Mike comes from.
I know about the Chad, yeah.
Okay, seems that we have another call. Probably somebody else asking for dead air. But I believe we have Lisa on line one.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
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 You're on the air.
Hi, Chad.
Hey.
I just wanted to. I know Chad, and I wanted to say that I really love his book entitled "Me Not,"
Oh, thank you.
and I just wanted to say that my kids, I make them do chores,
Awesome.
and I think it's really important that they do chores because I don't want them to grow up expecting everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Chad's book really does set the good example for parents on how to raise their children.
Well, I really appreciate that, Lisa. Now, you're a homeschool mom, correct?
Yes, I am.
So I think, just another large portion of the education system out there is the parents that homeschool their kids. And my book, I think, makes a great resource for those homeschoolers to kind of help add some extra curriculum to them besides the main core stuff that they're learning as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lisa, how old are your children?
They are 6 and 8.
That's good. About time to get them working, get a job.
Yeah, because if they're
I got them working in my house. They vacuum. They wash my car. They volunteer to do these
Nice.
things.
What day do they
sometimes,
do
so-
that, by the way? I can come by.
Well, a little bit every day. We incorporate it in our
Call
day,
me after the
so-
show. Let's set a rate. Let's get it done.
That's the
I don't pay
admission
them,
rate,
by the
so-
way. I don't pay them.
No, you don't pay them? Oh, jeez.
No, that's part of living in my house.
God
Absolutely.
bless you. So
Absolutely.
they get food and board and all that stuff. You've done enough.
Well,
Mark.
that's
right.
payment.
that's,
doing
that's,
good.
that's the apprenticeship.
That's payment. Yep.
I love
It's
it.
good for them.
Part of
I love
being
it.
part of the family. We all have jobs.
Yeah.
A job in the family, and we all have to.
Now, how old would they have to be in order to get an allowance?
You know what? When they move out of my house and get a job, that's their allowance.
Ah!
Ooh,
No, that's okay.
tough one.
No, really. I don't really. I mean, I don't want them to think that everything they do has to be for a reward all the time. I think that's kind of a. That's just my opinion.
By the way, this is
you
a
know,
very
agree.
famous Lisa. She has her own book, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah,
Put it out there, Lisa.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
my book.
Yes.
My book is teaching kids how to be responsible for their own oral health, and it's called Tooth Ahoy.
Tooth
Art
Ahoy.
Pete's Voyage to Healthy Teeth.
And I might add, my son loves the book as well. It's a great book that that you can read to your kids at nighttime that teaches all kinds of great brushing habits and food habits to help them maintain their teeth, unlike mine and the suckers and gummy bears and all that stuff I ate when I was growing up.
I love. You don't have any on
Right.
you, do you? That's the one thing missing from a radio station. There's no snacks. What's going on here, Cliff?
Think that would clog up the
Everybody
airwaves.
always tries to bring doggone donuts all the time. We're so sick of donuts already.
Yeah, what
Snacks.
time? What
There's
time
No
does that
veggie
happen?
platters, no, just donuts.
Donuts. We love donuts.
Well, the snacks, I believe, are on the 15th floor. We're all the way up on the 28th.
That's right. We're on the wrong
Well,
floor.
delivery's a little difficult.
Yeah.
It is.
You have to use
It
the
is.
elevator, the guest elevator.
And by the way, Lisa's another rock star from the Opportunity Network, and she actually takes care of our app for our senior members, for our gifted members that are smart enough to really connect with the other members. So you'll have to get a hold of Lisa. Lisa, how can they get a hold of you?
They can send me an email
Okay.
at lisasosby@gmail.com.
There you go. That'll work.
You better spell Sosby.
Okay, it's LISASOESBE
Right.
at gmail.com.
You know who doesn't know how to pronounce your name? Alexa.
Many people.
So I have to tell her it's Soisby. Otherwise, if it doesn't come so as be, she doesn't know who to send the message to. So.
Who was
Why
that?
do you use Alexa? You know Alexa is like receptionist for the
Oh,
NSA.
Alexa, no.
I don't care. I'm good. I know Lisa. She's got people in the NSA. She'll take care of me.
Oh, okay.
Not a problem.
More people get my name now that's a lot shorter than my maiden name confused.
Yeah,
than
whoa.
my 10-letter Polish last name. So, it's really interesting.
I love it. That's awesome. Awesome. Good. I'm out of words. I don't know what to say. Go
Lisa,
ahead,
thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All
Nice
right.
talking.
You
Bye.
rock, Lisa.
Take care. Chad, you were talking about entitlement and how we should teach our young children how not to feel entitled. But once again, getting back to the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, getting back to even somebody like Colin Ferguson, who, they want to say it's a First Amendment right. To me, he's wearing a uniform, he's employed. So to me, it's no different than somebody in a McDonald's saying, you know what, the burger is better down the block.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have restraints on your First Amendment when you are on the clock. Are employers, do you think employers out there are having problems right now with first-time employees? Your minimum wage, your first job, how to show up on time, how to pull your pants up, how to treat the public type of thing?
Absolutely. And this is a hot topic, I think, out there in the HR community. There's multiple levels that the new recruits are giving problems to these companies, and it's so much so that when I wrote my second book, I had interviewed a bunch of people, and I received stories from parents and people all over the country. And it's getting so bad now that major corporations are starting to train their employees for new employee hires to bring in their parents. So what's happening? And
Wait,
let me say this again.
Run that back.
Let me say this again. So companies are training their employers and HR people to deal with new hire parents that are coming in on behalf of the new hires, because the new hires, these young people, are not able to handle their own stuff. So their parents are accompanying them into their first jobs to try and almost hold their hand and make sure they don't get hurt.
Where's that big red reset button? I think it's time to
Really?
just press
Well,
delay on
it's
that.
incredible. It's
That's
incredible,
crazy.
and you're seeing this in the universities as well. The universities now have a separate department just to screen phone calls of parents for their kids. So universities now have their own separate department that actually handles specific phone calls from parents because they weren't able to handle it in the main registrar and their main contacts. So you're seeing this all over the country now, that parents are so much more involved in their kids' lives when they're past the stage of adulthood, when they're past the point of being 18. And it's to their detriment. The poor kids now are not really taking care of their own stuff. And it's causing them to have more problems and more issues, or blame others, victimhood mentality.
So maybe Raised by Wolves is actually a step up.
Well, I'll tell you that I've seen a lot, and especially in the parents I've interviewed, not necessarily raised by wolves, but kids that have gone through a lot of adversity, that have seen their parents struggle, that maybe their parents weren't the best parents or there for them, but kids that have seen their parents work multiple jobs and struggle to really put food on the table, usually that gives them a sense of drive and what it takes.
Let me toss this in here. I was a hockey coach. I'm still a hockey coach for many, many, many years. That's probably where Matt got his love for it. And hockey is a rules sport. So, I always told the parents, especially when their child was just learning to skate, when they were really little, and parents are inherently insensitive to what children go through at that age. They don't know how painful and uncomfortable things can be, so they're always trying to push their child to do better so they'll look better in front of the other people. So I'd always tell them, I have skates over there. If you'd like to put the skates on, let's see what you can do. And all of a sudden they would shut up. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really, really important that the children get to do their thing with the coaches, with their teachers, people of influence that they're with, their pastor or whatever, so they learn to deal with it as opposed to getting cover of parenting. So we did not do that. When Mac fell, Mac would get up. When Mac had to tie his skates, he tied his skates. Made sure that he was ready to go so that we could get to the hockey rink on time for practice. That was all part of his responsibility at 5 and 6 years old. So if you teach them at that age that these things are important, and this is stuff that they need to do, and here's why they need to do it, my children were not a pain to anybody. So, but when you're out there in the marketplace, you see how much pain you can be put through. So I don't understand parents sometimes. We need to have those parents call in. Let's have them call in.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that when you were coaching hockey, and Mac was young, that you had a score and you had winners and you had losers.
Yes, always,
and
always.
The kids learned what it meant to lose.
Amen. Amen.
And how to handle losing.
Yep, it's the biggest part of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there's a learning curve with everything. Whether
Amen.
you're starting out on your own for the very first time, or starting a new job, or even learning to lose. There's a learning curve with everything.
Absolutely.
And the faster you start that learning curve, the faster you become proficient. So, it's with anything. And you should always, with parents, it's okay to help your kids and want your kids to do better, but you got to limit yourself. When it comes to doing things for your kids instead of having them be able to do it themselves. And then you're kind of impeding them starting that learning curve for being, on their own and independent.
Right. They say if you help a butterfly out of its cocoon, it will not survive. Okay. So the idea of putting your child in a bubble where they cannot, don't have the, experience of ups and downs until they have raging hormones.
They have to do it on their own.
Right.
If that's the first time your child experiences some kind of negative effect or negative life event, being stood up by a girl or, it's not good.
Absolutely. And I think the earlier on kids learn some of these behaviors, the better as well. Because kids, some people try and shield their kids from all kinds of things. And sometimes that's not the good thing to do. Sometimes it's okay to let your kid experience some real life, and sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's difficult, but nothing ever great really is easy.
Mm-hmm.
So you want your kids to turn out great, you want them to be experienced, and sometimes they have to experience this stuff they go through. You can't shield them.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell a child that the stove is hot, but every child is going to touch that hot stove at some point. And then they learn what hot means.
Right.
Yep. Tell them where the Band-Aids are and put them back out on the ice. That's what we do.
Yeah, except for nowadays, parents are telling their kids that the stove is hot, and the kids just really aren't getting it until they're out of college, and then they're getting burned.
Yeah,
so that's way too late. When you're waiting.
Or they're out of college and they don't know how to cook.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little bit more literal of the sense.
Well said, Mike. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Don't we have some confused parents that can call in? I should have loaded up the calls. I should have called the Uncomfortable Parenting Academy or something.
Confused parents aren't too hard to find. They just have to get out of the denial of it.
Amen.
That they might be confused about something. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's always something new to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of confused parents, on the flip side, are there parenting groups that you know of on the Treasure Coast?
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're very helpful groups, and especially if you have access to Facebook, you can just look at Port St. Lucie Moms, Stewart Moms, some of those Rockin' Moms of the Treasure Coast, those Facebook groups where you can enter in and get tons of support, find out tons of information, and everything is really just a search away. So to find out any local answers or anything specifically having to do with the Treasure Coast, it's really great to be on Facebook.
A lot of doctor referrals and whatever.
Absolutely.
There,
I mean, there's so many parents that go through the same exact thing with their kids that it's crazy to not being able to find somebody in a similar situation that can help you.
How many people in the Port St. Lucie Moms group now?
The Port St. Lucie Moms group, I'm one of the admins in there. And right now we got about, I think, 3,200 people.
That's amazing. That's absolutely
And it's
amazing.
growing. And I'm adding 10, 15 new parents there every day, it seems. So it's just growing by leaps and bounds. And of course, Dad the Mom is a great resource. Stewart Moms, of course, and several of the other groups you can find just by searching.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah, well, I guess what you really have to know, at least in my life, if I ever have to fix anything, I go right to YouTube. Okay.
Yep.
Because if something's broken, I have to assume that it's I wasn't the first one to break it.
Yep.
Okay, so if something needs to be fixed, I have to assume that I'm not the first one to fix it. And people are usually generous with the knowledge that they have. So with parenting, it's got to be the same. So if you're running into a situation, don't keep it bottled up. Ask for help.
Absolutely.
And you guys know I don't do anything, so YouTube is a great resource for my wife. It really is. I don't do squat. That should be your next book. I don't do squat. We can do it.
There you go.
All right.
He's giving us the time sign.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You down to the last 5 minutes. You guys had way too much fun.
Way too much fun.
Time flies when you're having fun. That's
Yeah,
what's happened here.
Yeah, well, you know what? I just want to, I want to thank WPSL for the opportunity. If you guys haven't been here, the tower that they have down here, the WPSL tower.
That's right, the view
What are we
is
on
good.
the 55th floor now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the view is
And
fantastic.
always changing. Yeah.
Always
I
changing.
feel like I see the Fort Pierce Inlet from here.
The
Fort Pierce Inlet
yeah.
to our east, Lake O to
Well, that's from the
to
drone's eye
west.
view. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We have to
fabulous.
launch the drone to get good looks, pictures of the lake. You know.
Mhm.
Now, what's the closest restaurant that's an advertiser, Cliff?
Oh my.
Let's give them a plug. Let's get this
Oh,
going.
oh no,
Let's
I
give
know.
them a plug. The hell, let's
No,
give
no,
them
because if we do that, they'll send food.
Let's give
and
them
then we're
the-
gonna
let's
have to
give them
stay to
food.
eat it.
It's a donut shop, a local donut shop.
And I'm
Send more
wondering what the
donuts.
problem is with that.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Well, they could send barbecue down here, but no, they want to send donuts. Oh my.
No.
We're not
barbecue
police
works.
officers. We don't need donuts.
Oh.
Now wait a minute.
Oh,
No,
get us
wait,
in
wait, wait.
trouble.
It's
We
good
have
for
to-
it's good for the donut industry.
Yeah, we have to drive home, please.
Yeah.
I love WPSL, and then I get to go for a driver course. What's that all about? Love it.
Wow. Well, let's kind of recap. We're talking to Chad Miller. dadthemom.com is a website that, well, you know, there's a lot of different reasons why a dad might be a mom. Now, working at home and being a stay-at-home dad is one thing, but there are divorced fathers out there that are raising kids by themselves, like a single parent.
Single parent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this could help them as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a resource for all parents, whether you're a single parent or you have multiple parents living in the home or however many kids you have. It doesn't matter. This resource is great for all types of parents.
Okay, so it's okay to tell your daughter she can't date till she's 40, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can tell her that. That's covered under the
That's
First
a-
Amendment.
Yeah, but that's a totally different thing in the long run.
And the Second Amendment.
Right?
We can make our
the
recommendations
second-
as parents, but they'll make their own ultimately.
I believe it's the Second Amendment that enforces
Forces
that rule.
Yeah, you telling your daughter that.
Yeah, but then the day comes when well, the creation continues, and next thing you know, hey Dad, I got this doctor visit that I just got back from, and guess what? And a lot of parents, a lot of guys, we figured someday I'm going to have to kill a boy. I know that someday I'm going to have to be the one.
It's always easier to have boys and girls.
But the day that it happened, the day that the boy was very responsible, he came to me and he showed me a little doctor bill and he explained everything to me, and I was like, oh no, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This boy's about to die, and all I could think about was little tiny hands and little tiny feet.
Yep.
And a big stupid grin came across my face and said, "Really?"
Yeah, you're going to be a grandpa.
Yeah, and it's that easy, but it's complicated, and sometimes people need some help. So I think dadthemom.com is a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And Chad, so you got 2 books,
Mm-hmm.
okay, available on Amazon, available on your website.
Correct.
Great resources. What's up for book 3?
Well, book 3 is another book that I'm kind of writing for entrepreneurs, and I'm getting more and more into the entrepreneurial spirit of my blog of helping parents raise kids to really think outside the 9-to-5 mentality and become a business owner, an entrepreneur, and really kind of help give back to the community. So my 3rd book is going to focus on new business owners and young teens who want to start their own business as well. So I won't release any more details, but I am working on it.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Maybe you should also write a book on how to monetize a blog.
Oh yeah.
Because there's billions of blogs out there, and everybody that is a blogger wants to get to the point where they can monetize
some
their
money.
lives.
YouTube.
Yes, make some money.
Yeah.
That's the definition of monetizing.
Absolutely.
We've done it.
Oh, we've got it.
How about that? Tell Mark you did a great job. You've been listening to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. Michael Lobin for Mark Gotts, who's not with us tonight, but I'm sure he's fine. He'll be back next week, I think. Michael Mulady, Opportunity Network. Chad Miller, dadthemom.com. Check that out. And join us here on WPSL every Monday evening in the 6 p.m. hour for Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. Thanks, guys. By the way, this is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast. CBS News, followed by Larry Elder.